Hello, my friends. My name is Gerdes. Here are 5 big stories for today. So the first, you can't get away from it. It's the Kursk invasion. Here's Marines throwing down the Russian flag off this telephone pole. It was just here, and now it's no longer. Okay, let's look at what's actually happening in this operation according to the Institute for the Study of War. The Ukrainian operation in Kursk Oblast has already generated theater-wide operational and strategic pressures on Russian forces, and subsequent phases of fighting within Russia will likely generate even greater pressures on Putin and the Russian military. I don't see how it can't. They have to address this, and they have to dedicate resources that they otherwise would not have had to spend on this area of the theater. Russian counteroffensive operation to retake territory seized by Ukrainian forces in Kursk Oblast will very likely require even more manpower, equipment, and material. So it's going to strain a system that's already strained. So that's what's happening in the theater because of this invasion. The Ukrainian operation in Kursk Oblast also has forced a decision point on Putin about the long-term strategic requirements of defending the 1,000-kilometer long international border with northeastern Ukraine. So if they keep those troops there, that's a lot of demand on the Russian army over time. And then finally, Russian forces will not be able to retain the initiative throughout the eastern Ukraine indefinitely, and the culmination of Russian offensive operations will present Ukrainian forces with the opportunities to contest the initiative even further. So that's where they are right now. But never fear, Putin is on his way to, well, not the front line. He's on his way to Azerbaijan. Now, he is the head of state and he has other things going on, but this is pretty important if you're Putin. Okay, a little bit more from the ISW, a different thread. Ukrainian officials have publicly stated that Ukraine is not interested in holding territory in Kursk Oblast over the long term. So it's not because they want to grab, well, you grab this territory, so I'm going to grab that. They're just creating a dilemma for Russia at this point. There are no discernible operationally significant territorial objectives in the area where Ukraine launched the incursion into Kursk Oblast, and Ukraine has not committed the resources to the operation necessary if they were trying to hold it for the long term. And this is the thing, like Preston Stewart was talking about, I think this might be some kind of distraction from something else because I can't see what they're actually trying to do. Okay, so yeah, and neither can Russia, and that's that's half the point. The success of the Ukrainian incursion should thus not be evaluated in terms of Russian territory seized by Ukrainian forces. Like this morning, I was showing you, here's how much the Russians have actually taken, here's how much the Ukrainians have taken, and if you put them side by side, it looks like it's an impressive feat, but there was no opposition in Kursk. They just ran roughshod over it. If they had been able to run over a significant obstacle like what the Russians are running into Ukraine, that would be a pound for pound equivalence. I was just showing you the amount of territory. Okay, Kadavarites activity in Kursk region. They're looting shops. Well, why not join the party? Because they're looting shops, Russian neighbors are looting Russian shops and neighbors' houses, Russian soldiers are looting Russian houses. But here's a video online of surveillance footage from Russian soldiers, reportedly Ahkmat, who are robbing a cell phone store in Kursk region. They break display cases, take out equipment, try to open a door, and like, okay, that's what they're doing in their own territory. It's bad when they do it in Ukrainian territory, but it seems somewhat absurd when they're doing that in Russia. Okay, Ukrainian military maneuver in Kursk Oblast is compensating for Russia's advantage. Russia's really not good at maneuver warfare. They're good at positional warfare where they can hunker down and then just bomb you to smithereens with their artillery. But they're not good at positional warfare, so they're not able to really keep up with the Ukrainians who are moving all around them. Okay, big story number 2. Lukashenko. Belarus moves to significant military forces to the Ukrainian border and cites security concerns. Okay, what security concerns? Do you think that Ukraine really wants to invade Belarus while they're trying to contend with Russia? But Lukashenko is doing the will of Putin. And then he gave this bizarre interview. Lukashenko, it's spelled differently depending on who's pronouncing it or spelling it. Lukashenko is how we would pronounce it as English speakers, gave another delusional interview to Russian propagandists. Kyiv has formed a powerful force with the participation of mercenaries and Poles to attack the Kursk region. Okay, so that's what he was telling the interviewer. This is allegedly Kyiv's attempt to force Russia. Kyiv wants to force Russia into using weapons, including nukes. That's Kyiv's objective. Okay, Lukashenko also said that Ukraine has allegedly deployed more than 120,000 troops near the border with Belarus. I can't believe that figure. That doesn't seem like it's even anywhere near probable. But in his estimation, the goal of the special military operation, the goals have been achieved because Ukraine, he said, is denazified and 70% of its inhabitants hate Zelensky. What? I don't know what he's... Haley would have brought back a lot of Republicans back into the fold. I just can't do it. I can't vote for you. I'm a Republican, been a Republican all my life, but I just can't do this. And so... yeah, Haley could have brought them back, many of them. I don't know how many she would have been able to brought back, but could have brought some back. Now let's look at the polls. This is the Real Clear polling average. If you see red, it's pro-Trump. It's Trump is up. And if you see blue, it's Haley. And you see lots of blue starting to populate this now. And now let's look at this. These are the swing states. These are the 6, maybe even 7 now, swing states that really matter. Nevada, Trump is winning. Georgia, Trump is winning. North Carolina, Trump is winning. But Pennsylvania, Harris. Arizona, Harris. Michigan, Harris. Wisconsin, Harris. It broke for Harris in a big way since she entered the race. And we don't see anything about it stabilizing. It just seems to be incrementally ticking up for Harris. And this week is the Democrat convention, so it should, all other things being equal, tick up even more for Harris by the end of the week. Just a few last things. This was 2 years after Russia invaded Georgia. Here's Sarkozy from France and Angela Merkel from Germany and Dmitry Medvedev when he was somewhat sane from Russia. And then we have this, and given enough time, if the war goes badly for Putin, Russia might look more like this rather than the largest country on earth. I stand with Ukraine, and I hope you do. And I saw this, and I thought it was pretty funny. Newcraine, stand with Newcraine. All right, my friends, that's all that I have. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine and Newcraine.